BaconBit.
Oh, it's a musical episode all of a sudden.
So, hey, listener.
Hello.
Good to see you. It's been a while since we've done a BaconBit.
It has.
But we wanted to, now that some time has passed, hopefully everyone has watched, we wanted to discuss the Book of Boba Fett.
I am shocked at how many people, and again, this is anecdotal evidence based on the barbershop that I work at.
Go on.
I am shocked at how many people watched this on their phone while they were getting ready for work. Because the day of, I already had a bunch of people who were like, oh, yeah, did you see it? Yeah, it was great. I watched it this morning. It was like 11 o'clock.
No, it actually releases at 12 or 1 a.m.
3 in the morning or something?
I think it's 1 a.m. our time.
It's 1 a.m.
Yeah. So even though I am never a big fan of Disney Plus shows, I'm still like, hey, I got to know about this for the podcast.
You're a vampire, though.
Yeah, I watched it at 1 a.m.
No.
Yeah.
I because I had to keep up because it was going to be spoiled for me by someone in the barbershop.
Sure.
And it would have been. I had to watch it like first thing in the morning. I woke up at 6 o'clock.
Were you watching it on your phone?
Yeah, of course.
Well, and I will.
Shame on you.
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan would be disappointed.
He's disappointed in me for so many more reasons.
Once again, the difference between, I think the positive difference between Disney Plus and Netflix, I still think Disney is super smart, racing it week to week.
Yeah.
Oh, did you realize Netflix is starting to do this?
Are they starting to do
a lot
it?
of their major shows, they'll release like maybe 5 episodes, and then it'll be week to week.
I think that is the smart way to do it because that is a way to increase awareness and keep it in the public conscious.
Absolutely.
Because
think about Stranger Things,
That's why
right?
they do it
I
with
was
the
just gonna
Great
say,
British
Stranger
Baking
Things,
Show.
boom, you watch it, and then it's
Everyone's
over, and
talking
then
about
we
it,
don't talk about
and
it.
then no one is talking about it.
Whereas this one, as other shows in Disney Plus, as they release them, people talk about them week to week.
Which is funny, though, because no one was talking about Boba Fett at all.
Shh.
Okay.
No spoilers to this first part. This is going to be spoiler-free.
No spoilers. I'm just talking about interaction and engagement. This really didn't seem to have the buzz that either a lot of Marvel shows have had.
I think it may have had the first episode, but after the first episode, people kind of went, meh.
And then maybe some in the middle there.
But then once
we're going to leave it there.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So the Book of Boba Fett. Ken, do you have the synopsis for Book of Boba Fett?
I do. Bounty hunter Boba Fett and mercenary Fennec Shand navigate the underworld when they return to Tatooine to claim Jabba the Hutt's old turf.
Tatooine.
Now, this is, if you don't know, in the TV series The Mandalorian, second season, I believe, you learn, you meet Boba Fett.
Yeah, something we'd all been waiting for.
Meh.
No, I know. Truly, when they announced a Mandalorian series, everyone was like, "Why do we have a show about this guy when we don't have Boba Fett?"
Because he got killed by a blind man with a stick.
Basically,
Poorly.
But then you realize, okay, Din Djarin, is that his name?
Yeah.
He's actually really cool. And then you're like, we don't need Boba Fett.
You know
But
why
he is my Mandalorian.
You know why he's cool?
Why?
Because he's everything that Boba Fett should be.
Truly.
Yes.
He's mysterious.
Well, I think
he's cool.
that's-
He's tough.
That's kind of where maybe they lost the plot.
Yeah.
Is they
Getting ahead of
wrote that
ourselves
for a
fellas.
character?
Yeah.
Yes.
So they introduced the character of Boba Fett and Fennec Shand in The Mandalorian, and then
Correct.
at the end of one of the episodes of season 2 of The Mandalorian, they set up, okay, Boba Fett has got his armor back.
the finale.
And is that the finale of it?
It's the last moment.
It's
Yes.
and
And
the
then
the stinger
yes.
for the very end of the
and then they
series,
have him
or
go
the season.
and kill Bib Fortuna, who is wow, getting geeky here.
Yeah.
Kill the guy who's in charge, who took the place after Jabba, and then he sits on the throne. It's like, oh, the Book of Boba Fett. He's going to be the new crime lord.
Yeah.
And then enter the Book of Boba Fett. Created by Jon Favreau, who did the other one as well. He did Mandalorian as well.
He and Dave Filoni, right?
Yeah.
Well, I believe Jon Favreau wrote every episode.
Did he write it, or was it Robert Rodriguez helping as well? Because he directed most of the
Robert
episodes.
Rodriguez directed several.
Okay.
But I believe writing credit, from what I was noticing, mostly goes to Jon Favreau.
Wow.
Which people have a lot of faith in him now that he did The Mandalorian. I would say, you guys don't agree, but as good as he did. Because I do think The Mandalorian is my sequel series. Like that is, I kind of disown episodes 7, 8, 9.
Sure. Yeah. Of course.
But I really, really did like The Mandalorian as my sequel series. It's kind of, this is what the world looks like after
Absolutely.
Sure.
And Grogu.
And Grogu. Everyone loves Grogu. So, gentlemen,
Let's get right into it.
the Book of Boba Fett. Let's give our spoiler-free reviews.
Okay, I'll go first.
Please.
Yeah, this is something that I really feel was filler because they didn't have Pedro Pascal available for season 3 of Mandalorian, and I thought, I'm not really looking forward to this, even though I thought Boba Fett was cool when they showed him in season 2 of Mandalorian. Like, he's basically fighting a whole bunch. Didn't have his armor, but that was okay because he'd get it back. And then they start the season, and it shows like a little bit of the adventure of him trying to take over the town, and then it was a flashback for 60% of the episode.
Are we getting to spoilers here, Kent?
No, I'm not going to talk about the flashbacks, just saying that this show is comprised of flashbacks.
Okay.
And that was for the first 3 episodes. Most of the episode was flashbacks, and I thought, from a storytelling point of view, I hate flashbacks. It's good to show, not tell, but at the same time, I realized they didn't have a story for the future or for the present of the show. And I thought, well, they only have 7 episodes to complete this story.
Yeah, it's only 7 episodes.
I'm really concerned, but maybe it's a real slow burn because apparently Dave Filoni has done this in the past with Clone Wars and Rebels, is no one really likes it for the first little bit, and then at the end it really capitalizes and excels. And so I thought, okay, from what I've heard, this is going to be great by the end. Even Mandalorian for me was kind of the same way. And then I kept watching, and then I saw the addition of all these side characters that I truly didn't care about. I mean, is it a spoiler to talk about any sort of scooter gang?
Maybe.
Okay, we'll leave it there for now. But I said, wow, the action's really poor. It seems like there's not a lot of... Maybe the budget was there to build the town in Tatooine, but that's about it. And there was world building in the first couple episodes, and then it got really cool, and then really bad, and overall it's a really mixed bag. And I'm saying this being very cryptic without spoilers, but it's not good. It's probably a C- at best.
Okay.
At very best.
And
just because
what did
the
you get
best came
Mandalorian
around.
just for reference here?
Oh, Mandalorian, I think it got a B. Season 2 got a B.
Okay.
Season 1 I didn't really care for. I think it got a C. This C- at best.
Okay. Zach?
I don't really care about Boba Fett. I don't know. I didn't get all caught up in that craze. Maybe because I didn't have the time between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi to wonder who this mysterious character was.
Right.
All I saw was...
Neither did we, Zach.
Right, but
we're not that old.
It created this mystique of this character, of who he is and how cool he is. But my lasting image was always that he very easily got accidentally taken out by Han Solo.
Who was blind.
I've never cared about the character. I mean, his helmet looks cool, but...
I've never understood... Like, here's the thing. I think he looks cool.
Sure.
I never understood why he became such a cultural icon in the Star Wars
The
world.
costume and the ship.
The costume, the ship, and the mystery. Right? It's just because there's something
the silent character. It's
mysterious
always cool.
about
Yes.
him. And, when Darth Vader points at him and says, no disintegrations, that's actually really cool, because that means that he's done that before.
Yeah.
That's his problem. But I've just never cared for this character. I did not want to watch this show. I got into it because of the zeitgeist, which I've said about pretty much everything. Right?
Yeah.
I had the same problem with Mandalorian.
Except for any Marvel movie from last year, other than Spider-Man.
I only watched Spider-Man and WandaVision.
Yeah.
I have
So you
not
just
watched
didn't
any
care.
of those.
Anyways, go on.
And I don't. Well, when it comes to Boba Fett, I'm confused, and it is a mixed bag.
Wait, the character or Book of Boba Fett?
The Book of Boba Fett.
Okay.
I'm confused because it's like, hey, he's a crime lord, but his main goal as a crime lord seems to be the mayor. He's to be an honorable leader. It's
clear
like,
the town.
you're a crime lord. Why are you wanting to make
killer
things
and
better?
a crime lord. Yes.
It doesn't make any sense to me. And I know, maybe there's sort of a mafia thing there, but just this is a show that doesn't seem to have a direction that they want to take this character, and it does the Disney thing where it's like, hey, we're gonna take a villain and we're gonna make him honorable in some way. Let your villains be your villains.
To the point where
Thank
there
you.
really wasn't a villain.
There isn't. There is not. There
is.
Well, there's.
Nope.
There is.
There's crime that's happening that you
Yes.
need to fight, but I don't have anybody to look at and go,
There's
that's
a
the
villain.
guy.
There's not a main villain.
Barely villainous.
And I stand by that. If your show has to add side characters to make it interesting, then your show maybe isn't that interesting, right? I think.
Well, I do think the addition of Fennec is a good addition.
Fennec Shand, though,
She should have been the voice.
yeah, Fennec
of
Shand is
Boba
a
Fett,
great
basically.
character.
Yes.
I really like her.
A great character.
Underutilized.
She's a great character.
Yeah, I get it.
She's real good looking.
I'm not denying that. I'm just saying she's a stock character.
She's Mulan.
She's
But
there.
they could have done so much more.
They could have.
But they try to make Boba Fett the pivot point for the show.
I think the
And
Fennec
he was
Shand
no longer
episodes-
mysterious.
I think the Fennec Shand episode in the first season of Mandalorian was one of the weaker ones.
Okay.
And I think her appearance in the second one was kind of like, oh, cool, she's back.
Yeah,
So-
it should be we follow her and Boba Fett becomes, again, what he is best, which is a mysterious figure.
Yes.
But the fact that we're going to follow, him trying to be honorable, it's not what I want to see. And I think I will go out on a limb, and no one will agree with me here, but Mandalorian Season 2 didn't start getting really good in so many people's eyes until it started adding in people from other stuff. Mandalorian Season 2 becomes a Clone Wars extension, and it's not living in its own universe. and then because
I can see your
But
point.
Joel, you need to watch Clone Wars in order to enjoy it.
you don't, which is
I
nice.
did.
But
you saw those parts.
I
You
watched
saw those
Clone
characters.
Wars.
Okay.
it's the fact that it's like, well, that's important in
It
Clone
makes
Wars.
it makes it richer. Like
Sure,
when
of course
certain
it does.
characters pop up.
And I've said this before. I hate having to do homework. Mandalorian season 2 doesn't force you to, and I like that.
Force.
But yeah, the Book of Boba Fett. It feels like it absolutely can't stand on its own. And even if you pair it up, like immediately finish Mandalorian and start watching this, it's just not satisfying.
It's just not good.
There's some cool stuff, I guess. But overall, I hate that I had to watch it. But you do. If you like what's going on with the Star Wars series, it's required viewing, and I don't like
Did
that.
you feel like you watched it to see the ending like Mandalorian Season 2 ended for a big reveal and or cameo? Do you feel like that was a reason to watch this show?
No, I watched it, so when the next series comes out, I won't be confused on episode 1.
Okay, yeah, it makes sense.
And if you don't watch this, you will be.
So,
right. Your rating?
grade?
6.5
It's pretty high.
on 10.
Yeah, it's pretty high.
There is good stuff in here. There was enjoyable things, but I'm never going to come back to this.
Yeah.
Not on purpose.
Yeah.
All right, Joel?
So for me, I'm kind of in the same boat with Zach
Yeah.
here. I've never been a huge Boba Fett fan. When he returned in Mandalorian season 2, I was like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But I like Boba Fett than I ever liked Jango Fett, like the whole prequel thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's weird that what's the actor's name?
Tamara Morrison.
Yeah. I've never really seen him as Boba Fett.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of weird to me. And the fact that I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, but for most of this series, he doesn't have his helmet on.
No.
And he's sitting there trying to act. He's not a great actor.
Sure.
Every single line, and we've made fun of this, on BaconBits and stuff. Every single line has the same delivery, which is, "I need to go out and look."
I'm going to go talk to Jabba.
Though, does acting really
breathes
matter
somewhere.
in this franchise? Because there's not
But
been
what I'm
great
saying is
acting in the
whenever he'd
franchise.
try to do these monologues, it would pull me out.
Okay.
But
Dialogue's always been bad in Star Wars.
So the first episode, I was not impressed.
Sure.
Second episode, really not impressed. Third episode, what are they doing here? And I really, really, really was not enjoying it until episode 4. Excuse me, 5. 5.
Yeah, it was
Obviously
5 for sure.
Sorry, I just looked down at my notes and
Yeah.
but here's the interesting thing. My kids, I watched all of Mandalorian with them. My oldest 4, I watched it with them. And when this came along, they were like, can we watch it? I'm like, well, let me look at it first. I'll watch it first, and then we'll see if we're going to watch it together. And I was like, you can watch it if you want. It's not that good. It's not that good. And then all of a sudden, episode 5, I'm like, we need to watch this.
Yeah.
So I tried an experiment, gentlemen. My kids have not seen episodes 1, 2, 3, and 4 of the Book of Boba Fett.
Sure.
They have only seen episodes 4, 5, and 6. And
Wait,
they
not
were-
7? Or 5, 6, and 7?
5, 6, 7.
Okay.
Yes, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah.
5, 6. 7. I don't know why I keep including 4 there because 4 was not good. But we'll get more into the spoiler thing later. But there was only one thing I had to explain to them in those last 3 episodes.
I know what you're talking about. Sure.
And that was the only thing I had to explain. They could follow the plot without having seen any of the other Boba Fett episodes because they'd watched Mandalorian season 1 and season 2. So, in my opinion, that's what you should do.
So this feels like DLC in that case.
a little bit.
Yeah, this is just a little bonus on top of Mandalorian.
And so maybe we just jump into the spoilers here, but I'll give my review, my rating real quick. I'm actually giving this overall a C+. But if it were just the last 3 episodes, they'd probably be in the B range.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. That finale, though. Come on. A non-ender? Shh. That's not a spoiler. It's a non-ender.
Episode 1 through 4 and 7, I give a 4
Out of
But-
10.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
out of 10. Yeah, but episode
2
5 and 6.
excellent episodes in the middle.
Episode 5 and 6 raise this.
Oh my
overall
gosh!
average.
Why did I give it a letter grade? What have you done to me?
It's
Wrong.
been a couple weeks.
3.5 stars.
3.5 for real, though?
Overall, probably 3.5 because there was some enjoyment I had in it.
Okay.
So
So you think they brought it all together in the end?
enough?
I think they started to, and then like, oh yeah.
Let's get into it.
Cap.
Just in case, closing statements.
Watch the last 3 episodes. That's all you need to watch. Don't watch the first 4.
I agree. Anything else? Final word?
No.
Yeah.
Spoiler time! Dun, 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 dun. Spoiler time!
So this is Mandalorian season 2.5, and I have had no problem telling people that because here's the thing: if you start watching this show, you will not continue. I've literally said, you know what, I'm going to spoil this for you, but it's going to make it worth your time. This is Mandalorian 2.5. Just watch.
Pause. Cut the Mandalorian out of the season altogether. I want to see how Boba Fett's show stands on its own. It
doesn't.
This whole story is about him, even though he shows up at the end of The Mandalorian saying, I'm now the crime lord of Tatooine, it's a journey of him becoming a crime lord of Tatooine.
Well, I think I posted about this.
Yeah.
I expected this to be kind of The Godfather, where he was going to be this a Breaking Bad, like this anti-hero, kind of edgy.
Yeah.
I mean, Disney
he makes these choices and people come in and
it's going to be this hard edge kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, see, a Disney version of Daenerys.
Sure.
But what we got instead was, all right, sheriff's going to come in and clean up the town.
Yeah. Hey, you charge too much for water.
Yeah. How dare you?
So it gets to the end, and there's meant to be a scuffle. There's meant to be a war in the streets of Tatooine.
But we should clarify first, for those who haven't seen it. The first 4 episodes are like Boba Fett and Boba Fett's story. Mm-hmm. Episode 5, it's literally called, like Zach said, The Return of the Mandalorian. Episode 5 doesn't even have Boba Fett in it.
Yeah.
It's just the story of the Mandalorian. Episode 6, almost entirely Mandalorian.
And then for 2 whole episodes of 7, we don't see this main character, which I get. It's cool to have him mysterious, but to really not feature him, to not really have any trust in the character or writing. This feels like a product of reshoots. Granted, they didn't know the reception of the show.
No, but I made a joke about
always
it.
Reshoots.
Yes.
Based on like, oh, this is kind of dry.
Because I made a joke, and I know it's not true because they wrote this and filmed this and edited it all beforehand. But it felt like they got to episode 4 and was like, man, people are not digging this. Let's just do a Mandalorian episode.
So I feel like there wasn't enough time spent on what the fish heads, the Pike Syndicate, or is that what they call them?
Yes.
The villainous fish heads and the mayor that they keep going, or the governor, whoever it was.
This is the mayor.
There was no
mayor of Mos Espa.
There was no villainous element there. They try to bring it back to the Sand People.
Oh, they got Cad Bane though.
Oh yeah, we'll get there because that's probably the highlight of the whole season for
You think so?
For me, because
wait, have you watched Clone Wars?
No.
Oh,
but we'll get there. I'll just say this. Seeing him walk up like a Western like the show I think is meant to be, I was like, immediately that guy is cool. Mm-hmm. I didn't even know the background.
Neither do I. I mean, okay. I knew that he was a character on Clone Wars, but that's cool.
But I needed to see a bigger battle with the Pike Syndicate because it really did feel like a to be continued sort of element.
Yeah.
And I feel like, is there one more episode? Please tell me there's one more because we saw everyone fight a big giant robot in the streets for about 17 minutes.
Why?
And a Rancor came out and kind of ruined the money shot.
Oh, by the way.
The whole thing. And is that what your kids
were? The Rancor is the only thing I had to explain to my kids. Like, oh,
why
by
is he
the way,
riding a Rancor?
In a previous episode, he got a Rancor in the Rancor pit and he tamed it.
Oh, so he got a Rancor and Danny Trejo in the deal.
What? Trejo was like for 2 seconds. Why was he even in there?
Because he's Robert Rodriguez's buddy.
Truthfully, I feel like I wish we had 7 episodes where they actually set up the Pike Syndicate to be tied to like Crimson Dawn from Solo. Where
I thought that's where they were headed.
Or Darth Maul. I mean, I know canonically he wouldn't show up, but at least we maybe see Kira from Solo.
I wonder if they're setting up Pike Syndicate though for Obi-Wan.
And I feel like maybe.
But here's my other thing: in a year where we got, or just after the year where we got Dune, why would they call it Spice? They do this trade of this thing, Spice, that everyone's trying to mine, and I'm like, that is literally what Dune was about.
It's funny because they needed a reason to make Tatooine important, and they just called it Spice. And I know this is in the books at some point because everything is kind of based on Dune. Mm-hmm. And so there's probably some reason.
In the books that, like,
there probably is a reason.
I don't mind that at all because the cross section of people who are watching Dune and Star Wars is probably not that big.
What?
Mm-hmm. Honestly,
it's sci-fi fans.
I think now it's going to be.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But I am tired of Tatooine being important. The whole point when we see Luke Skywalker in the first Star Wars, he says, if there's a star furthest from the universe or whatever, it's a nothing town. That's the whole point. The boy from nowhere comes out and becomes great.
They hid the boy. They hid Anakin Skywalker's son on Anakin Skywalker's home planet and gave him his last name Skywalker and sent him to live with the relatives of Anakin
like
Skywalker.
I said, the writing, that was the best.
Let's hide him there. They'll never know.
But the fact that it's now becoming this important thing, I mean, this is like on the outer edge of the outer rim. Yeah. But it'd be like if suddenly all the Avengers always got together in like Missouri.
Yeah.
That was called the Eternals.
Does it make you feel less excited for Kenobi, even though that's meant to be there? Does it make you less excited to see another Tatooine desert story?
I'm tired of seeing the desert. I'll say that. It's kind of like in the video games. I'm tired of playing the Battle of Hoth. It's just you keep going back to the same
I think Emily once said it, and I can't remember exactly what she said, but she's like, I believe there's more planets out there than desert, jungle, or snow.
It's always been so hilarious in Star Wars that The cities are just entire planets.
Which is why I think Mandalorian works so much better, because it's a new environment for the most part per episode. And so it's space travel.
Yeah.
In this one, when you let's just get to the Mandalorian episodes, you see him travel through space. You see him on the Halo craft, essentially. And you're like, this is cool. This is interesting.
Yeah, I was down
we
with
haven't
that.
seen in
You
Star
see
Wars
him
before.
Full blown cut a dude in half.
Yeah.
Yeah, with a dark saber.
So what was that? That was such a tonal change. On purpose? Like, what did they know that we don't? That
I don't
they knew
know.
they had a bad show?
Maybe, but I really did.
Maybe it was to show that without Grogu, he's a little bit more cruel.
It could be.
Oh,
We'll
get there.
Well, he cut a dude in half in the very first episode.
Yeah.
So this is not out
But
of
that's who
character.
he is. That's who Boba Fett should be.
Yes.
The ruthless bounty hunter's like, I can bring you in cold. I can bring you in hot.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I said that backwards.
He's a better character because he's what Boba Fett should be.
What's funny is in the Mandalorian 2.5.1, the first episode of this season where Mandalorian is featured, is the episode didn't really have all that much happening, right? He fought to keep the Darksaber, which is cool, and then he rebuilt a ship from episode 1, right? Which was fine. Not a lot happened plot wise, other than him being
Star Wars
summoned.
episode 1, not Mandalorian episode 1.
Sorry, Star Wars episode
And we
1.
find our motivation for season 3.
Basically, it was a spin-off show, whereas we didn't need it because everyone already loves The Mandalorian, but nothing happened in the episode, but it's still this breath of fresh air because we all wanted to see an episode like that.
Well,
We wanted to see progression and not
it is
flashbacks.
unfair. It
Go
is
on.
unfair to put an episode of The Mandalorian in the middle of a Boba Fett show because those people who don't watch Boba Fett will be like, "What the heck? How does Grogu have this armor now? What's
Why
happening
is he
here?"
even back at all?
Yeah, why is he back at all? Like what, that? All those major decisions that happened in the Book of Boba Fett, should have happened in The Mandalorian season 3.
I have this problem with The Mandalorian and this series. Whenever I think, oh, that's what the story arc is going to be, it then resolves within that episode or the next episode.
Yeah.
I thought that
Like in Kanto.
Yeah, I thought that this was going to be a setup for how Din Djarin gets Grogu back.
Well,
within an episode and a half, we're done.
Well, it should have been because he's like, I need to go deliver this gift, whatever it is, to Grogu. And I'm like, cool. Okay, now we have 2 episodes left for Boba Fett.
And what I thought,
And we didn't.
Yeah, well, what I thought was going to happen is we see Din Djarin go away, and then
You can just call him the Mandalorian. 'cause
Mando.
he-
Yeah,
he's
Mando.
the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
So Mando goes away, and I thought that was going to be like, oh, they just set up episode 1 of season 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
Instead, we actually see what happened.
Which was the coolest episode of the season, but it also was kind of a ruiner of everything that came before. Because it was just that good. Seeing Luke with CG,
That actually worked this time.
that's solid. The deep fake they used was
the amazing
amazing.
change they went from Mandalorian season 2, which was just last year, right?
Yeah.
And then to this, where it was like, that looks like young Mark Hamill.
Yeah. The only uncanny valley thing was his voice.
Yeah, which was made, that was synthetic. That was like all robotic as well.
So interesting that both in the end of season 2 of Mandalorian, they did a deep fake and a synthesized voice.
Yeah.
And in this one, they used different technologies for both. The face was much better, and the voice was much worse.
Yeah,
Yes.
It's really interesting how that works out. But they're doing an in-house processing engine as opposed to a third party that they did before.
Was it one of you who said, I don't remember if it was one of you guys, someone said,
That they hired somebody from YouTube.
no, the voice, the face looked so good that we could then see how bad the
Yes.
voice was.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think
That was-
that,
I think
that was my take.
Yeah.
That's the thing. We have now reached past that. It's good enough. It really is. Then now we're like, oh, that voice is kind of robotic.
Because you're able to focus on other things because you're not distracted by the weird mouth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they did so much to put Ahsoka in
Call
this
that
episode.
Cavill mouth, by the way.
Oh, Joss mouth.
I mean, I still
Yeah.
think they should recast it.
But putting in Ahsoka here is like, hey, let's lead into her series as well because she really didn't need to be in the episode other than fan service is pretty cool.
The fact when she said, just like your father.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great moment.
And I was
Absolutely.
like, oh, she knows Anakin.
Yeah.
She doesn't know Darth Vader. That's cool.
Yeah, and it
Although,
makes-
how old is she?
Truly, it makes me want to go back immediately and
She's
watch
a different
Clone
race.
Wars.
Yeah.
Like I do those 2 episodes, like, that one episode has made me want to go back and watch the cartoons.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So, but then you see Luke and he's training just like we kind of read back in the Jedi Academy books and all that kind of stuff. But then
I wouldn't say we.
we all read them.
And they do that shot of it's looking at Grogu, and then you see the close up of the lightsaber turn on.
Yeah,
and
right.
You're reminded of what
The younglings.
Anakin did to the
Yeah.
younglings.
Yeah.
But then they did something at the end of the episode, which definitely felt like a lead into season 3. It felt like they didn't need an answer, but actually made Luke kind of a horrible person in my eyes. Like they made him cool, and we got to see Luke as he should have been. And then he became everything that was wrong with the Jedi in the past.
I was going to ask,
Yes.
as a kid, I wanted to be a Jedi, and then I saw the prequels, and I was like, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
They're monks, and I kind of like love. I kind of like my wife.
And when you were a kid and you said that?
Yes.
Okay.
But then with this one, I was watching the Jedi training, and I was like, man, Jedi training is kind of boring.
I don't like Jedi.
It's kind of boring.
Yeah.
Peak Luke Skywalker is not the end of Mandalorian. Peak Luke Skywalker is Empire Strikes Back when he has his blue lightsaber and he has his gun. That's the last time he has both.
Nah, see,
I think it's Return of the Jedi. I think it's green lightsaber.
I'd also give it to Mandalorian season final episode when he starts crushing everything. Like that was
it's that cool.
I don't like Master Luke, but I don't like the whole point of him should be to be something new.
But who gave him that rank?
So
nobody.
I feel like they could have done so much with. I think Grogu was kind of the starting off point where they
are we done calling him Baby Yoda? Is that a thing now?
Yeah. I think they could have built him to separate from the sequel trilogy because, as we know, things go poorly for Luke in the Jedi Academy.
Yeah.
But then this episode basically
They
said
very quickly break what those nice robot ants built.
right, exactly. This episode is like, nope, this is all going to happen the way it's going to happen, and it's going to lead right into Ben being Luke's first student. Killing everyone, but don't worry, Grogu's not going to die, everyone, so don't riot.
Leia is the first student.
Oh, they didn't say that, though,
They
did
say
they?
that in...
But then she left.
In Last Jedi.
So it makes Luke seem really kind of...
Or maybe they say it in Rise of Skywalker.
It makes
I don't know any of those.
It makes Luke deal in absolutes, right? Only a Sith deals in absolutes, which is also an absolute.
But also I understand where he was coming from because, well...
Really? Here's a gift from your friend.
In the story, I think he'd be like, you have to get rid of these distractions. This is what Yoda taught me to do. So you got to decide if you're going to be full into this, all in or not. It was a DTR, Kent. That's what it was.
But Joel, remind me what Luke chose.
What Luke chose? Oh, Luke chose back.
Luke chose to leave.
Yeah, and
Luke chose to go save his friends.
I don't think the door's completely closed and going back.
Luke had his cake and ate it too.
So this is why I think Mandalorian, the series, has now been ruined because in the final episode, Grogu chooses the armor. He chooses the chainmail. And I think that was the biggest mistake because they have this really cute reunion in that last episode that lasts about 2 seconds. And then you go, why did I watch the whole thing about him bringing Grogu to where he belongs?
Because that's where he thought he was supposed to go.
No, because in Lone Wolf and Cub, the child is actually meant to choose his progress. He's not meant to choose Lone Wolf. The Cub is meant to move on in life, and that's what they base that off of.
What are you talking about right now?
The story of Lone Wolf and Cub. That's what they base Mandalorian
I don't know
off
what that
of.
story is.
It's a samurai story. And so
I didn't read the Star Wars books either, Kent.
it's not a Star Wars story. Anyways, there's meant to be progress, and they're basically saying maybe we don't trust the Mandalorian show on its own. We need a cute merchandise character again. And I really wanted to see what could happen to Mando in the future without him.
My kids were having conflict over what is Grogu going to choose? What's he going to choose? And I had a sit-down moment with him and I said, well, look, here's the deal. It costs a lot of money for them to animate Luke's face and to put it on Luke. It's a lot of work to put it on Luke and to do his voice. That's going to be a lot. Mm-hmm. They also have huge merchandising stuff going on with Baby Yoda, one of their most profitable characters in years.
Yes.
And they're not going to give that up either. And I said, so I'll bet you money. It's going to...
Yeah, and now with chainmail.
Yeah.
I was hoping, though, he'd say, Baby Grogu's like, I'll take the chainmail. And Luke's like, okay, fine. Well, no one can use this tiny lightsaber, so take that too.
Yeah.
I'm going to send you away, but take this lightsaber.
You haven't seen under his burlap sack yet.
Yeah, now he can do backflips.
Yeah.
Maybe he does have
he had
the
2
lightsaber.
lessons. It's cool.
Again, how long did Luke train with Yoda? He did backflips and lifted some rocks, and now he's a
50
Jedi
years
Master.
old, okay, babe? Grogu is 50 years old. I think he's had some time around. He knows... He had
He
training.
can lift a frog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's getting better.
Yeah, I really didn't like that story arc. It really did invalidate a lot of what Mandalorian did to protect Baby Yoda.
But I don't think it did because I think that it's the story of this is where I want to go. And then you get there, you're like, no, this isn't where I want to go.
But now what? Now he has a Darksaber and he has a Force-powered youngling? I mean, that seems way OP.
You realize
Seems
that
awesome.
the Mandalorian doesn't refer to Din Djarin. It's plural. Like the Mandalorian title to me has always been the Mandalorian people here, which include him
really?
and Yoda.
I think you just said to you, and I think that's to you. Mandalorian is Mando.
But that's
Yeah,
his
I
name.
think of the Mandalorian as Mando.
But it's about the Mandalorian.
No,
People.
that's Mandalorian.
Yeah, you
Mandalorian.
pluralize it. Yeah.
Or Women-Dalorian.
It's because
People
now
DeLorean.
Yeah, sorry.
The People DeLorean.
Grogu is a Mandalorian family, right? He is.
Yes.
He is slated to wear armor.
Well, and Mando has the tribe of two, right? That is part of his destiny, which it makes sense that they'd be together. I just hate it story-wise. I really do.
It makes sense from a marketing standpoint.
Sure.
It's weak.
And that's so Disney.
It is.
And it takes away from the character. That's the story.
Anyway, but there you go. There's any other final thoughts before we move on, gentlemen?
Cad Bane, is that his name?
Yes, Cad Bane.
I know we kind of talked about like him being intimidating. I kind of wish he didn't die. If he did die, I know there's
a
you
can
backstory
see
with
him-
he.
There was
Django.
more that happened with him.
Yeah, doing the bounty hunter stuff in
But
Clone Wars.
the introduction of that kind of character, I was like, this is exciting. Like, this is more of what I want to see.
Oh.
And Timothy Oliphant's hair, amazing.
We haven't
What?
talked about the mods. The worst
We were
addition to
trying
the Star
not
Wars
to.
universe since Jar Jar. I really
I'll take Jar Jar over.
Yeah, me too.
like they bring these bionic these. Oh my gosh! It really feels like these old men in a room going, "How can we relate to young people? What if we had a group of bionic teens
with colorful scooters.
who drove around on colorful scooters?"
They're all super destitute, but they got amazing scooters.
Yeah, not only that, but they also have the cool lines where it's like, "No, I know how to do this. My father knows how to do this, and he taught me how to do this, and I'm going to do it."
And what was that in the last episode when they're like, Boba Fett's like, "Oh, we should probably go to my fortress." And the girl said, "No, we need to be here among the people, fighting among the people," which the people betrayed him about 2 seconds later. They should have gone to the fortress.
Also, the fact that it's like, well, whether you're holed up at the fortress or holed up in the town, you're holed up. Like,
Yeah.
there's no reason. There's no reason for that
you mean
moral
by
stance
the
by the
two
mod.
by the 24 fish heads?
I just feel like it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was completely anti-Star Wars.
And the new
like it just it was
the
too
new
clean.
Wookiee. Yeah, what are you guys' thoughts on the new Wookiee?
Oh, I
Shanton?
like him.
He's cool.
What's his name?
Black Krishantin?
Black Kershanton.
Black
Kersanton.
Really?
Not Shanton.
There was a lot of R's there.
He's a cool character, but nothing really happened.
He added nothing more than Chewie would have in that role.
No, but he's really cool though because he can get shot 90 times and he walks it off.
He healed himself. Like he was literally like dragging a leg when he's trying to get to the barrier the last episode, and then 2 seconds later he's running full speed, and I was like, wait a minute, what just happened? Man?
The Force.
I guess
Yeah, no, so look, those 2 episodes were pretty legendary.
4 and 5.
Yeah.
No, 5 and 6.
They
Five
weren't
and
though.
six.
It was a scale thing. It was context. They were those 2 episodes of Mandalorian were so episode 5 was
fine.
It was fine.
Yeah.
Episode
because
6
we were
was
all excited to see Mando again.
yeah, and episode 6 was a bunch of fan service.
Yes.
And even then it was like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And also kind of ruined Luke for me.
But
I think Luke's still figuring out who he is.
Yeah, but
I'm
no,
gonna give him some
no,
flack.
because then he has bad dreams about his nephew and tries to kill him.
Well, that's later on.
Yeah, but still, leads
I'm
into
still
that.
holding out hope, Kent, that they'll branch us into an alternate
That's
reality.
cute. It's not going to happen.
Alternate reality.
there's no multiverse in Star Wars.
Other franchises have done it, so let's hope.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Please bless. Let us know your thoughts on the book of Boba Fett.
Are you now looking forward to Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Oh, just because I want to see Hayden Christensen so bad.
Nice.
It may
I
ruin the
like Hugh
canon.
McGregor. I think it'll be fine, but I don't know. I'm not overly excited for it.
Cool.
So let us know your thoughts on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We want to hear from you. I mean, it's been long enough. We can probably speak openly about it now in the comments section. Just please post spoiler alerts if you're going to do so. So there you go. There's our review of the book of Boba Fett.
Kermit.